So, welcome back to Rugspirations. I'm Robin from Hooking Outside the Lines, and we have a special guest today, Denise Finn from Kingston, Ontario, which is not too far from people that are outside of Canada. Ottawa and Kingston are an easy day trip. We can drive back and forth if
Yeah.
we needed to in a day, and
Yes.
that's always nice to give people a perspective of where we are. So, thank you, Denise.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
Thank you for coming today. And Denise's business, I love the name Soulfulskeins rug cooking. And I love seeing all the colors behind you, similar to the background. We like easy access. I think that might be
Exactly.
something we have in
Well,
common.
you kind of have to be able to see it, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Definitely. So we'll just jump into it with our questions if you don't
Sure.
mind.
No.
Um, I am curious, what or who got you started in rug cooking? Like, how did this happen for you?
Okay. So it started during the pandemic.
Oh, recent.
Yeah, early in the pandemic. And I think for me, in our family, we lost our mother
Mm,
very early in the pandemic in April. And it was a
wow.
really difficult time for us all because she was in a nursing home and
Mm,
we couldn't be with her, and we all struggled greatly. We couldn't
yeah.
have a funeral, all those things that
Mhm.
many people went through. And so I was kind of looking for something to bring me peace and solace during
Mhm.
that time. And I had picked up punch needle the year before, but it just wasn't quite me. It was just a little bit too um, rigid, a little bit too um not that I'm a rule breaker, but I don't want a lot of rules when I'm
Yep.
being creative. So I
Yep.
had done about 6 pieces in punch needle, and I was kind of looking for something else, and I stumbled upon Deanne Fitzpatrick.
Mm.
And so I immediately signed up for an online course, and it just went from there. And I knew that this suited me better,
Yep.
and so I jumped in both feet and kept going, and I it did bring me a lot of peace and healing. And my mom was a very craft oriented person,
Mhm.
and she knit and she crocheted, or she didn't crochet, sorry, she knit and she quilted and she embroidered and she sewed. And I have two sisters and a brother, and she taught all of us girls all these wonderful things. And to pick up something new that I wasn't taught by her really
Mm.
worked for me at that time in my life, and really helped in the healing process and the grieving process.
That is so interesting. Yeah, we have a lot in common, Denise, I think, because my mother was the same and not rug hooking, not punch needle, but all those other things. And she
Hmm.
taught me those things. And she died in 2018. And I had just started a few years earlier to rug hook. And there was something, it was special for me that it wasn't taught by her. So I feel like not
Yes.
having all that memory
Yeah.
attached to it, like this was new.
That's exactly what it was
Um,
for me too. Yeah.
yeah.
And all I kept thinking as I learned and as I took courses and I kept hooking more and more and more, because I hook a lot, was she would have loved this. She would
Yes.
have loved this.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. Wow. And it's also interesting because my last guest that I interviewed, Erin Peacock, she had the absolute reverse reaction. She started with rug hooking and didn't quite feel it was right, and then discovered punch needle and was much more
Hmm.
comfortable with punch needle. So you just
Yeah.
never know.
You just
It's
don't know. You just don't
no,
know.
it's
No.
so important to try.
Yeah, and I just recently taught my two sisters and my daughter. I taught a class that they were in, and my daughter, after the class, and I mean she did great. She had no issues. She finished the piece right away. She said, "I think I might like to try punch needle instead." And I said, "Oh, I can
Yep.
bring you all the stuff." Yeah.
Well, it's nice that she's interested. I mean, I
Yes.
like whatever tool works for people,
I
that's the
agree
perfect tool.
100%, because I'm really of the opinion that creativity is really important as far as mental health.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, and so the tools or materials we use are really secondary
I
to the
agree.
benefits. You know, like
Yeah,
I'm not a, I mean, I love wool, absolutely love wool, but if people, you know, it's not in the budget of everybody, I'm always
uh,
like, use what you can get your hands on.
absolutely. I agree
And
100%. I'm the
yeah,
same. I prefer wool, but you know what? It's
mhm.
not like there's a rule, and
No,
there's no shame in using more inexpensive, more reasonably priced materials.
yeah,
Like, work with what you got, and if you can recycle at the same
even
time,
better. Yeah,
more power to you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was just
Oh, I think we froze here.
like, I like something, and then I'm like, oh, I don't like it anymore.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, a
are we
little
froze?
freeze. There
Yeah,
you
a
are.
little
There
freeze.
you
Oh,
are.
phew.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, I
still
was
good.
just saying recycling is so important if you can use that.
Yeah.
Um, so do you have a favorite part of the process? Like, do you find the planning of the new rug, the working on the rug, finishing or shopping for supplies, gathering supplies? Do you have any part that you're just like, oh, this is it?
I mean, I really love all of it, but I think what I enjoy the most is the actual pulling of loops, because that's where I find my peace, and that's where I can work through things in my mind, and listen to my audiobooks and listen to podcasts and those kinds of things. Yeah, I think that's, for me, is the best part, is to pulling the loops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you mentioned that you do hook a lot. I'm
I do.
curious, what does a lot mean to you? Like, can you every day, some
Oh,
several
yeah, pretty much
hours
every
or
day, pretty much every day. And generally, what I do is hook about, usually about 4 hours a day.
okay.
I mean, it depends on what I've got coming up. Like, if I have shows coming up, so like at this time of year, I'm doing a lot of hooking because of all the summer markets.
Mhm.
And then that will stretch right into the fall because of the Christmas markets. So yeah, I pretty much hook almost every day. On the weekends, maybe not,
Mhm.
kind of depends what we have going on.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, so I find, like, I try to cut myself off after 4 hours, but it's hard some days, depending on where you are in the piece you're working on.
Yeah.
But I have arthritis in my hands, so
Oh,
I pay the price if I go too long.
yeah.
But try as I might, some days I just don't stop when I should.
Yeah. When you know it's
Yeah,
yeah. Oh
yeah.
gosh. Um, is there anything that you wish you'd learned sooner in your rug hooking process, or something maybe that you tell your new students when you're teaching a class that you really hope that they get early on in their journey?
I think I wished I had learned how much fun it would be to actually teach it and share it, because
Oh,
I kind of held back for a long time. I didn't start teaching until the first time I taught was last October.
okay.
Yeah. And now I've done 5 workshops, and I enjoy it very much. Very
Oh,
much.
good.
Yeah.
That is so yeah. Yeah, we have a lot in common. I was hesitant to teach, and the only reason I did at the beginning was because I was so passionate about rug cooking, and I felt like not enough people knew about it. And I felt like people gotta know, like, it's
Yeah.
selfish of me to keep this to myself,
I
and there was
agree.
nowhere else for people to go. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, if nobody else is gonna do it, I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, and what I like to do is, at my markets, depending on my booth space,
Mhm.
I like to work on something while I'm there. Just bring a
Yeah.
lap frame and work while I'm there. And it's great because so many people,
Mhm.
they'll look at your pieces and they'll say, "Oh, I did this when I was little, but my hook was different." And I'll say, "No, probably what you did was latch hook."
Yep.
And I show them the hook, and I show them how to pull some loops, and the odd time someone will sit in my chair and pull a few loops, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Oh,
find I
that is
find that
wonderful.
that is really good, because it just opens it up to people. Because in Kingston, we do have a
Mhm.
group, but it's not widely known. You know,
No.
yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, as wonderful as groups are, I encourage people to look in their communities because sometimes they're hidden.
yes, exactly,
It is hard for people to get out, and necessarily, meet up the group if they're working and what have you,
exactly,
like the timings and all that can be
exactly,
tricky for people.
exactly.
So, getting to touch it at a market and see what it is, and
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
maybe go online like you did and
Yeah,
many of us did after,
yeah.
as well. Yeah, that is important. Um, do you have a favorite foundation fabric, material, or tool, or something that you're just like, I cannot be without this?
I would say it is my Moshimer hook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
Um, it fits in my hand well. It it enables me to put a little grip on it. That's just a little grip I got it at Staples.
Yep.
And with my arthritis, I've lost some of the feeling in the ends of my fingers.
Mm,
So I can hold on to it. It doesn't slip out of my fingers. I like the size of this hook.
okay.
And when I try other hooks, like because I always purchase hooks for the students. And if I'm trying to help them with something and I pick up their hook,
Their hook,
it,
yeah.
it's so awkward in my hand. It like I can't hook as quickly. I can't, it just doesn't feel right.
Right. Oh,
And this
interesting.
is, yeah, this is for me. This is a good one.
Wow.
Yeah,
And do you use the same hook for everything? Because I got to see your stuff in person. I know you like
yeah,
lots of
I
texture.
do.
Yeah.
I do. Now I have another. Where is it? I have a beautiful Irish made hook.
Yep.
That in the beginning I would use this if I was hooking cloth or like a big fluffy merino or something like that. But now I just use my Moshimer.
Interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
try to tell people that. Like, you don't need to buy, especially I think people that come from the knitting or crochet world,
Yes.
they assume they need multiple needles or
Yeah.
hooks. And I'm always like, just buy one medium and
Hmm.
start there.
Which is what this is. It's a
Yeah.
medium. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always
No, and
recommend
it
because,
works for me. Yeah.
yeah. Interesting, interesting.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I have a similar to your big hook, and that is my new favorite. I don't know, after doing the t-shirt rugs last year, which took
Oh, right, right.
more muscle,
Yeah,
I'll say.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I
Yeah,
needed the big shank for
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But now I'm kind of hooked on it. Like
yeah.
I'm a woman of habit. So,
Well, and I find with the smaller hook, if I'm hooking something big like cloth,
mhm,
I just kind of move it around and open up the linen a little bit more and then pull it
yeah,
through.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. And I'm curious, just you didn't mention a frame, and I know when I saw it, you did use a hoop, but we were at a show.
Yeah.
Do you have a
I
favorite
have a
kind of frame?
frame. I'm sitting at it right now.
Okay.
Um, for me, it essentially works like a shetty camp, but what it is a quilt frame that I found in a secondhand shop in Prince Edward County for $25.
Oh, wow.
And my husband modified it to make
Yep.
it the way I wanted it. It has gears, but instead of having the steel gears, mine are plastic.
Yep.
But I get it nice and tight and it works good for me. So right now what I have on here is I sell a lot of 4x4s at my shows. So I've
Right.
got 4x4s on here and I'm working on some 8x8s and I'll just keep working till I fill the piece of linen and then I take it off and I bind them all at the same time and steam them and all of that.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, again, I had the benefit of getting to see several of your beautiful pieces in person, and I know you use a lot of texture. So I'm curious, you do steam your rugs even though you get all that
I
texture?
do. I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I give them a light steam. Like what I do is like I have a steaming cloth and I get it good and wet,
Yep.
put it on top, and then I just use just the weight of the iron. I don't
Okay.
push it because I don't want to lose all that texture.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I just want to give it a nice finished look.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they were absolutely gorgeous. So
Yeah.
but I remember thinking texture, which I love. So I don't
Hmm.
always tell people they don't
Yeah.
have to steam.
And I steam the back first and then the front.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting. I do have a rug that you shared with me, and
Hmm.
for people just watching the first time, I do make people choose one. Denise did send me two, but I chose one.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
So I'm just pulling it up. There we go. Can you see that okay?
I can.
Perfect. So tell us about this beautiful rug.
This is a memory rug that I did. Our very dearest, closest friends lost their son to cancer a year ago. And he from the time he was diagnosed until he passed away was 1 month.
Oh gosh.
And he was 43 years old. His name was Nigel. And they have a beautiful farm just about half an hour from here. This is Nigel kind of sitting in his spot at the back of the farm. They have a beautiful pergola and all kinds of stonework back there. And they have this fire pit. And I named it At Peace. So this was my little, ode to Nigel for them, and I gave it to them at his celebration of life.
Beautiful. And how big is this piece, just for perspective wise, for people to see?
This piece is about 16 by 12.
Okay, so quite small.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. And you got a lot of detail. That's one thing I noticed when I was looking at this one. Um, you managed to capture like that pergola. I could see I don't know what
yeah,
they're called, but
yeah.
those,
He's just under the edge of the roof of it. Yeah,
yeah, like there, do you just really capture so much detail? And I could tell it was a stone wall without, you having to do, obvious stones.
hmm
I just think for people that are learning to design their own work, this is a wonderful example of what's possible. Like you can obviously get detail without doing every detail.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I tried it different ways. I tried like outlining the grout lines, in between the
Yeah.
stones, and it just made it way too busy. And
Mm,
I didn't want to kind of detract from, the subject.
yeah.
So I ended up going a different way. And actually in this rug, speaking of recycled materials, the pole, the
Yep.
support on the pergola, that's actually an old one of my husband's t-shirts that
I'm
I
gonna zoom right
that I
in.
cut into strips.
Yep.
Yeah, because I
Wonderful.
wanted a different texture and a different color of gray because everything was gray. I was
Right.
trying to make things, not
Yeah.
all look exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love your combination of materials, and I remember that from your other pieces as well, like the wool strips and the
hmm
thicker roving type yarns and the just beautiful combinations. And your fire looks like a fire, like
Yeah, yeah. No,
it
I
looks
was I
hot.
was really pleased with how it came out, and it was interesting because the whole time I worked on it, I felt like he was with me. So it
Mm,
was it was very nice. It was a beautiful experience, and I recommend it to anyone. If they have someone in their life who's lost someone, or if they have lost someone themselves. I loved every minute of it, and the way I got all the detail was it's a bit of a cheat, but it worked good for me. Was my husband and I were taking care of their place while they were away with their son,
mhm.
and because he lived out west, and so my husband sat in that chair, and I
Yep.
took pictures, and
Yep.
then I made my pattern from those pictures.
And that is not cheating to me.
Yeah,
That just
and
is
then I
smart.
made Nigel's hair, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, using all the tools available to us, including, taking photos when we have that opportunity, I
yeah,
think that is just smart.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And the sky is just so beautiful.
yeah.
Just
I was very pleased with how this guy came out.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, and I mean, I remember you do a lot of landscape style and flowers. I'm
hmm
curious, do you design ahead of time for those kind of things? Sorry, I'm just going to bring us back. Um, when you approach your design for your pieces that you'd sell at market, so less personal pieces,
hmm hmm
um, do you do a lot of planning ahead? Like, are you type that
I'm a big sketchbook user.
okay.
So I usually have things that I can go and look at that I've
Yeah.
already, because I've got, I don't know, probably at least 8 filled sketchbooks.
Mm,
But sometimes I'll just get something in my head that I want to try, and sometimes I'll just sketch it right on the linen. It
mhm.
varies for me, and if it's something that I think I'm going to use as a beginner class,
Yeah.
what I do is because I know a lot of people use red dot or tulle to make a pattern so that they can use it again. I use inexpensive rolls of window screen.
Yes, I've heard of
Yeah,
that.
and it works really well, really well.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll do my sketch, then I'll outline it in a Sharpie in my sketchbook, and
Yep.
then I cut a piece of window screen that I just get online, the most inexpensive one I can find, cut out a piece of that, put it on top. I use like my little binder clips to hold
Yeah.
it
Hold it.
nice and tight. Yep. And then I just trace it, and then I can put it. And then if I want to do that rug for another class, I
Yeah.
just go to my file, pull out that one, you know, make all the
And
patterns, and then they're all exactly the same.
right, right. Which, yeah, I struggle with exactly the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious, is the screening like white or light gray? Like
No, no, it's gray. It's
it
gray.
is gray and you can see the Sharpie on it anyway.
You don't see it until you lay it on your linen. Yeah.
Okay.
Or lay it on like a table or something
Something
like that.
lighter.
Then you'll see it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to
But if you
try
hold
that.
it up, you don't see it. Yeah.
Okay. I have not tried that method. I'm not a red dot fan or the
Tool.
tool either. I find they're too wiggly, and so I
That's
do.
what I found too.
Yeah.
But I wanted a way to be able to repeat patterns once I started
Yeah.
teaching, and that works really well for me.
Huh. And do you prefer that, or do you not use a light table? Like I find the light table is pretty good, not always.
I don't have a light table.
Okay,
I've
well
never
that
had a light
works.
table. Way back in the beginning, when I first started doing punch needle, I used to tape everything to the patio door.
Yeah,
And
me too.
I would do it that way. But no, I don't now. Since I started with the screen, if
That
it's a
works.
pattern I know I'm going to repeat, I just do that. Yeah,
Oh, how smart. Okay, I might have to look up some window screening
yeah,
after
it's not
this.
expensive. No,
Well, and because I would think it holds its shape well,
it
like
does. It does, and you
that.
can roll them. Like you
Yeah.
can roll them up together, put a rubber band on them, and yeah.
Oh, I always learn something new. Thank you, Denise.
You're
Um,
welcome.
So that is awesome. Do you have any? I know we met at a wonderful, gorgeous show in Picton a couple of weeks ago, and you mentioned you have a couple more. Do you have any soon, in case anybody watching is in the
I
area that you
do.
want to
I
share?
have the Women's Art Festival that's in Kingston every year. It's over 20 years.
Mm,
And it's August 9th, and it's in City Park in Kingston.
nice.
And we're over 100 vendors, all types of art. And it's a lovely festival. It's
Yeah.
very well done. There's food vendors, and there's live music, and there's this year they're having a poetry tent, and
Oh my
they've
gosh.
got an indigenous artists pavilion, and yeah, it's lovely. They do a great job.
Wow. August 9th. Okay, perfect. And that's in Kingston. So,
It's in Kingston.
and if people want to take a class with you, is there a way that they could sign up for a newsletter or stay in touch, or how do they follow you?
I don't have a website at this point, but they can certainly follow me on Instagram, and that's just at Soulfulskeins Rug Hooking.
Okay.
And then my email is soulfulskeins@gmail.com.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because and I encourage people to sign up for your Instagram because your style is really special, and I
Oh,
think
thank you.
people will enjoy seeing it. I mean, everybody has different style, but uh,
Absolutely.
I know your booth when I walked by, I was like, oh my gosh, I had to stop and come and have a closer look. So that's always a sign to me that that's something special to me. Obviously,
Oh, that's
all
wonderful.
kinds of special,
Thank you.
um, but thank you so much, Denise.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you
welcome.
for sharing. And I'm always so like when I on Zoom and people have that yarn behind them, and I imagine people feel the same, but I just want to reach in and like
I
touch
know.
what's in
I
those
know.
bins.
I know. Yeah,
It's so hard.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll let you go, but thank you for doing this. And yeah, reach out to Soulful Skeins Rug Cooking on Instagram to follow Denise for more. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Thank